Hello everybody, and welcome back to another one of our weekly Dr. Stone discussion videos, and today we're talking all about episode 22, The Treasure. But hey, before we get into the video proper, I do, as always, want to give a big thank you to those of you who shared last week's video over on Twitter, at SteelRamJack, at HarrisonKVGC, at AlexDrift11, and at Nacho Gashardo. Thanks so much for sharing last week's Dr. Stone video, everybody. It is super appreciated. And if you too would like to have your name shouted out in next week's Dr. Stone video, then be sure to share this video around on the internet, and then tag me at JoJo Talks Too Much over on Twitter, and I will be sure to shout your name out in next week's video. Now then, with that said, holy shit, they actually gave Magma a character arc. He had actual character development. He's a character. Big round of applause for Magma, everybody. Okay, I know. Some of you guys may remember early on that I had said that Magma was a big-time tool and there was nothing likable about him, and he was hardly even a character as much as just a roadblock. And that's not a knock against the two mangaka. It has nothing to do with that. It's nothing against the author's work. It's just that the character wasn't really a character. He was an obstacle that the gang had to overcome. And if they wanted to, they could have ditched Magma after that. They could have just let Magma fade into the background and not be a character. Instead, they actively made the decision to take Magma, a character who, again, had no character, and actually give him a little bit of depth, and I genuinely appreciated it, because Magma was very interesting this week. It's not like the most original character sort of arc that we've seen in anime or anything. And especially for shonen, the sort of villain turned good guy, like the antagonist turned friend. That's not necessarily new, but it's still done really well, and I feel like that's most good shonen these days is like, well, it doesn't necessarily break the mold, it just kind of excels at what it needs to do. And with Magma, this episode just sort of excelled at making Magma a character you wanted to root for, especially with the whole Magma making the sacrifice play. That was a genuine surprise. I kind of figured something was up when the group entered the caves and noticed, like, oh, the ground is really brittle. And you sort of get the vibe that something's gonna happen, because Chrome even says, like, we're going into a cave, we could fall down at any minute, and Magma could push us in and just say that we fell, and it would be like the perfect crime. Nobody could really be sure if he was lying or not. And even Magma's aware of this, and I have to imagine that the thought did cross his mind, but that's not what ends up happening. Magma ends up being a significantly better dude than I think I really gave the man any kind of credit for, and I feel bad for that now. There's that scene, right, where they enter the one section of the cave, and Chrome. Senku immediately recognizes, like, hey, everybody stop moving. That's not rock, that's something or other. Some other mineral that he knows that, of course, I'm like, I have no idea. But anyway, he notices it, and immediately is like, that is blank, it looks like rock, but you can actually just chip it away. It's like really easy to break, super brittle. Essentially this entire section of the cave is one big trip mine, and if we fall in, for all we know, we could die. We don't know how far down the holes go, so we could literally die here if we're not careful. And Chrome is of course like, maybe we should leave, or at least find another way around. And Senku sort of like, I guess he maybe moves to turn backwards. Essentially, he moves his foot in just the right way where you can hear a crack. And I knew pretty much right away what was happening. I'm sure some folks maybe didn't see this coming, because the way that they directed this scene, you could be tricked into thinking that Magma really was trying to kill Senku here. Because essentially, all you really notice is that Senku moves slightly, there's a cracking sound, and then Magma pushes him. And the way he pushes him, it almost looks like he punches him. And then the way Senku falls, he sort of lands on harder ground while Magma falls over into the hole that was created. And the way it's played off, you could think for a second that Magma is actually trying to kill Senku. And pretty much, you could go for at least like over half the episode thinking that that's what happened. But the way that the way the direction was, you can also tell what's happening just based off Magma's reaction. Because at first it does look like based off Magma's reaction and the sound I want to add in too. The sound direction is also fantastic. Like the way that they play with the sound effects in this episode is great. Because it really does kind of hint to you like, hey, Magma actually heard the cracking sound, moved to save Senku, and was basically lying through his teeth, and it hurt him to say it too. You could see on his face, like, he makes this sort of like, I can only describe it as a wince, and then goes, yeah, I was trying to kill Senku. I thought I could push you guys down after I heard that and run out of here, and everything is your fault anyway. And it sort of became like Magma was trying to get Senku to let go, because for all he knew, like, this fall is gonna kill me, and if it kills him too, the whole village is screwed. So Magma in this moment chose to make the sacrifice play to save Senku of all people, and was well aware that Senku wasn't gonna let him go because he knows Senku's a good dude. So that to me really, again, little character beat, right? And it's not something original, it's not something like brand new. It's definitely a trope we have seen before, you know, the bad guy turns good guy, like heel turns face, not brand new stuff. But the way it was done here, the direction, the voice acting, everything about it, I thought was brilliant. And it made me really like Magma a whole bunch. Because, again, like, he knows Senku's not gonna let him go, so he tries to be like, yeah, I tried to kill you, and I'd do it again, too. And ever since you got here, everything's screwed up. My whole life got screwed up ever since you got here. And that, to me, was like, part of Magma was trying to get Senku to let go, but then the more he got angry, the more his real feelings came out. And I do feel like that was genuine. Him saying, like, you ruined everything. I had a good thing going here and you showed up. Like, you and your science ruined everything. Like, you know that on some level Magma really did feel that. And not even on some level. He really was feeling that. Like, Senku really did screw everything up for him. He took away the chief, took away Ruri, took away his status as like the mystifying Magma. Now he's just like Magma, the guy who's real strong. Like, Senku really did take a lot away from Magma with his introduction to Ishigami Village and the introduction of science. That really did take a lot away from him. And again, like I said, I do think a part of Magma, in the back of his mind, and this is what makes Magma kind of interesting, is that, you know, on some level, he was considering killing Chrome and Senku in here. Like, he really, like, the thought had to have crossed his mind at least once. And he does say, like, when I came in here, I didn't want to attack you guys and have you use your weapons of science against me. So I was waiting to a point where I had the weapons of science in my hand and your backs were turned. And Chrome is right away like, you wouldn't dare. And then you get the big Magma like, Kono Magma da! Like Magma reeling back with the pickaxe. But instead of bringing the pickaxe down, he whips it at the crazy looking rock, which I have to assume is everything that they said is scientifically accurate. And if so, I want to see one of those things because that rock looked friggin' rad. But yeah, Magma whips the pickaxe into it and chips it, and it misses Senku, but it was never really intended to hit the man. Because Magma pretty much says like, yeah, I was gonna come in here and kill you. And Senku's like, oh yeah? Yeah, is that why you saved me, you big oaf? Like, of course, you dumbass. Like, of course I knew what you were doing, but Chrome didn't, so Chrome is the dumbass. Because, yeah, Senku knew by Magma's facial expression that the man was genuine. He actually was trying to save Senku because he knows, as much as he would hate to admit it, that Ishigami Village needs Senku. They need him. He has to be the leader. They have to see like his weapons of science, his not even his weapons of science, but his kingdom of science. Like, he knows that the village is in good hands with Senku, and in that moment, for a split second, Magma was willing to switch places with the man, even if it meant dying. That, to me, is really good stuff. And we even get that whole, like, the true treasure is friendship from Chrome. And I actually want to talk about that as well, because I do think a huge part of the enjoyment of this episode was the fact that this is such a bizarre trio of characters. Like, typical, like, while Chrome and Senku have been together since Chrome's introduction to the show, you wouldn't put Magma with those two. So the trio really do form a new sort of kinship, with Chrome and Senku being like the science-obsessed crazy ones, and Magma being the sort of like big buff dude who's like able to help out the science users. And I think that's great. Like, and there's even a shot of like what a present-day Senku and Magma dynamic would look like, with Senku as sort of like a foreman, and Magma, or like or not even a foreman, a draftsman, and Magma as the sort of like heavy working construction worker type guy. And it was a cool shot, and I was genuinely like, that would be cool. I would love to see an OVA that actually shows what these characters would look like if they were all interacting in like the modern world. Like, if those characters were plucked and put into modern day society, what the interactions would look like. I would be curious to see that. I don't know how I guess maybe like have Senku dream, like have it be a dream, and Senku just dreams up a version of reality where everybody is in the modern world and like hanging out for just like an episode. It would be you have to admit, it'd be kind of cool to see. I would be interested in seeing that. But to get back to the trio of this episode, I thought their dynamic was great. And I loved my favorite bit was the three of them is after it's after the pitfall scene, but before the pickaxe scene. And it's the Magma saying to Chrome, like, if we die, if you didn't get us out of there, we would have froze to death. That's what Senku's trying to say, because like Senku had said, like, oh, things would have gotten real drastic if we hadn't gotten out of there in time. So good save there, Chrome. Chrome's like, what do you mean? And Magma, of course, is like, we would have froze. Like, it's winter and we're in a cave. If we didn't get out of there as soon as we did, if I didn't throw Senku up, and that was another great moment too, where he throws Senku up in the air. If I didn't throw Senku up and climb my way out, we would have froze to death in there. So that's what Senku's trying to say. And Senku's like, no, that's not it at all. And you're like, what would have happened? And he goes, Magma and I would have had to huddle together for warmth. And the other two are like, my God, like, my God. Like, it was just genuinely good stuff. And no, I don't ship Chrome. No, I don't ship Senku and Magma, for crying out loud. Like, I know I'm Captain Shipper, but even I was just like, my God, the horror. But I did think it was a really, really funny scene. Also, another good scene is when they talk about the treasure was friendship, right? Where Chrome's just like, we came in here to see nature's treasure box, but really the true treasure that we found in this cave together was the friendship that we made down here. And to me, it was like, on one hand, as he was saying that, all I could think of was, it's our time down here. Goonies never say die, right? Like, I had that Goonies moment. But on the other hand, actually, this whole episode, now that I think about it, is very Goonies. But on the other hand, the other thought that I had was, damn, that was cringe. Just before they actually say the words, that was really cringy, and Magma also knows the word cringy, which means that Byakuya in the 100 Tales had to have passed down the word cringe and cringy in the context of what, like, god damn it. I love Byakuya so much. I actually, okay, fun fact, and this is very much a tangent before I get to the last thing I want to talk about. I was on shonenjump.com because I have a subscription to Shonen Jump so I can read One Piece. And whilst I was reading a volume of One Piece, I'm trying to get through bare minimum 2 volumes a day. And while I was reading through my volumes of One Piece, I couldn't help but notice there was 4 chapters out for the Byakuya spin-off manga, and I was this close to reading it. I was like this close, but I was like, no, I am an anime only, must maintain. I don't know if they will ever properly animate the spin-off manga. I have to hold out hope and assume that they like money, although to be fair, from what I gather, the series isn't all that popular, but at the same time, it is being produced by Crunchyroll. They are producers for the series, so there has to be some level of funding going in there. I have to imagine that we'll get the Byakuya spin-off animated, even if it's just like a 3-part OVA or something. So I'm gonna hold on to hope, rather, and I'm gonna hold off on reading the spin-off manga. Maybe we'll give it to like mid-2020, and if we hear nothing by mid-2020, then I'll go read the spin-off manga. Watch, by the time I finish reading it, that's when we get the anime adaptation. Anywho, before I wrap up today's video, I of course, have to talk about the birthday present. Because this scene kind of, listen, you guys know me. I cry at the drop of a hat. I got a little bit emotional here. I won't lie to you guys. Because at first, like, Senku's blindfolded. And and I even wrote down in my notes, the first note I put was Gen being sneaky again. And yeah, Gen was being sneaky, but for a good damn reason, and that is the birthday gift. Because he tells Magma, like, hey, bring Senku back here in 3 days, and then ... and then you don't find out what happens, right? Like, and then it looks as though, like, Gen has double-crossed Senku and tricked and, like, convinced the others to bring Senku over to Tsukasa so that they don't even have to fight, which, like, I don't even know why Senku would say that, because that's a terrible play, because he'd just wipe out Ishigami Village anyway. Like, that's the kind of dude he is. Like, he wouldn't trust them. Regardless, for a second, Senku thinks, like, oh my god, they're all gonna betray me. I had a feeling this may happen, but, like, I thought we were friends. And I couldn't help but be like, Senku, what in the high hell are you talking about? Of course, they love you. Like, they're not gonna betray you. What, are you out of your mind? And it's this, and what I love too, and I actually just thought about now, what I love about that is that Magma knew what Gen said. Like, the audience didn't, but Magma did. So Magma was aware that he had to get Senku back within 3 days so that Senku could get his birthday present. Magma wanted to make sure, I repeat, that Senku and Chrome got back within 3 days so that he could get his birthday gift on his birthday. Magma did that for Senku. That's big. But more than that, it's that Gen actually managed to calculate when Senku's birthday was, judging off all this different info that he had, and made sure to get Senku a telescope. Because you know, and so does Gen, what that meant to Senku. And I got emotional because you could tell Senku wanted to cry, but he was too proud to cry in front of the others, I think. Or not even too proud, it's just Senku's not a crier, so he knew, like, he held it together, but that was the same sort of reaction he had when he found out Byakuya was in charge of the village, right? So you could tell that really touched him, that the whole village got together and was like, we need to make this telescope thing that Gen was talking about as a gift to Senku, and we're gonna turn the fort into an observatory. That was so touching. And honestly, okay, when I made my shipping video, right, somebody had sent in Senku and Gen, and I never really saw it. Now I see it. You guys wanted a ship and were disappointed that it wasn't Magma and Senku? Don't worry, I have another ship for you, Gen and Senku. Man, I mean, I still ship Kohaku and Senku more, but the Gen-Senku relationship has evolved big time in this week's episode. Like, the leaps and bounds that Gen went to get this telescope made, and, like, the secrecy that he went to, like talking to Magma, who, don't forget, tried to kill him, like, just so that he could get Senku a gift on his birthday, is huge. And the fact that the whole village comes together to do so, and even that the talk that they have, where Gen's like, you know, even before we met, I really, really admired you. And I actually just gave myself goosebumps. like that scene was brilliant. The Gen-Senku relationship. Folks, let me know what you guys think about the Gen-Senku relationship. I am genuinely curious. What is if you had to ship Senku with anybody, because I almost feel like Senku's too mad scientist to really, he's so cool to really get together with anybody. But if you had to pair him with somebody, who would it be? I still like Senku Kohaku just because their relationship feels more like, A, it feels more canon, and B, it just sort of like their dynamic fits well in the narrative, like, a lot more. But the Gen-Senku relationship, actually, I can see sparks more between those two. So let me know. I'd be really curious to know. But yeah, folks, like, holy shit, this was a really good episode. With all of that said, I am going to go ahead and give this episode a very strong rank of A. Sure, it's a little bit predictable, but you know what? Sometimes predictable is good, and this episode was pretty damn great. And on that note, everybody, that's gonna wrap up today's video, but before we take off, I want to give a big shout out to the good folks over on Patreon, namely those in the Earl Grey tier: Calvin Atkinson, Crowbar of Irony, Dominic, Urza, Ginkotaku, No For Nothing, Maria Teresa, Mirth Mouser, Omner Garamond, Cell, Shadow Creative, Sipco Games, Somastan, Steven, Tristan, Verdon, and Westbourne Eastbred. A huge thank you to those of you who support the channel over on Patreon, and if you too would like to join the T Squadron, then be sure to check out that first link in the description to check out our Patreon page, see all the cool rewards you can get over there, as well as access to our Patreon exclusive Discord. Thanks once again for checking out today's video, everybody. If you enjoyed it, then you've probably been on the internet long enough to know what to do already, so I ain't gonna tell you, but I will say that it is appreciated. And if you are feeling stressed out today, then you go have yourself a warm cup of tea, and I will talk to you all again real soon.